liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
This is the second day of January, and we are live right here at WHPR, and we'll be with you for 2 hours today. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback. My name is Theo Broughton, and I'm the co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host today is
Hassan Aline.
Yes, we are starting the year off right, and we just want to let you know that we're concerned about all the things that are happening with and to the people in our community. I'd like to say good morning to some of you that tune in regularly, and that would be Carolyn, Vera, Ron, Les. And I also want to say, I believe yesterday was the birthday of Deetta Wilcoxon, and say happy birthday to Deetta. And also to Roy. And it's just so many of you. And I came across so many people this past weekend. And I want to thank those of you who continue to help sponsoring this program. And for those of you who may be considering it, I'd like you to make your check out to Hood Research, or if you prefer, you can make your check out to WHPR Broadcasting Company. We have no objection to that. But we would like you to mail it to Hood Research at P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204. Again, that's mailing it to Hood Research at P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204, so we can make sure that it gets accredited to this program. Anybody want to say good morning to Hassan?
Everybody, just good morning to all of the folks that are here. You know, we made it.
Oh,
it was rough. We just glad to be here. That's everybody in the city.
Absolutely. And it was a very good program, good holiday, and all of that. But I want you all to know that Tom Barrow, who is a certified public accountant, was also a lifetime member of Hood Research, called last week and let us know that he promised that he would be here today. And he is with us today, Tom Barrow, a man of his word. Tom, I want to thank you so much for keeping your word and coming to be with us this morning. It's wonderful.
Theo, I'm thrilled to be here and sit with you, you and Hassan. This is it's a whole. There's so much going on now, and I think people now sitting at home who are watching this are who have already known because they got their ear to the ground. They've already been aware, and now so many others are being enlightened. Mm-hmm. So last week or so, I received calls from all over the country, from HBO to Democracy Now! To all kinds of folks, as well as the local newspapers and the like, and wanting to do interviews and wanting to take up time and to talk. And I declined them all. But yours, because I am a member of Hood Research, I couldn't very well turn that down. So I'm here today, and I want people at home to call and ask questions which concern them. I know that we've got to have a plan, and that's why I'm here.
Oh, wonderful. Folks are always trying to steal my guests, but anyway. you
Hey,
know.
by the way, I understand are you running for the 13th or something like that? I heard.
It seems like I'm being drafted to do
Yeah, I
that.
did hear that,
Like
and
the last time I was drafted.
I'm
to do
hearing it
that.
from so many different ways, coming from so many different directions. I'm saying, oh my goodness, that's Theo. Okay, well, excellent. All right, well, good for you.
You know, over the time, many people have been so disappointed in how the 13th district has turned out, how it's being run, and then there are so many more who are concerned about the state Democratic Party and how it is being run. And, you know, it just seems to me that Andy Dillon, you remember
Oh,
old
sure,
Andy
certainly.
Dillon?
I met with him, incident.
Oh,
back
did you?
In 2012, I met with him.
Oh,
That's
that's
when
right, when
we
you went with
when
Watson.
we revealed the contrived bankruptcy that was underway, and that they're going to be starting to take the people's pensions.
Well, he seems to have a lot of tricks up his sleeve. A resident of Redford, at least at that time, kept running for office as a Republican, which he is and was, could not get elected. So he decided he would go to Lynch's costume shop, which is off Michigan Avenue, and get him a Democratic costume, put it on, went back to Redford and ran for office as a Democrat, and voila, Andy Dillon won. So he only stayed until the current governor, Snyder, won the governorship for the state of Michigan. He took off his costume and ran to Lansing and was made the treasurer for the state of Michigan. So that he is the poster child for how you trick Democrats statewide.
You know, I have to say, Theo, when I think about the 13th and even the 14th, and I think folks at home realize this, our city and our communities are not moving forward. And they're not moving forward because our leadership is stagnant. It has effectively taken itself out of the calculation. We can no longer count on the NAACP. We can no longer count on the Urban League. We can no longer count on even New Detroit and all the traditional institutions that we used to count on. And the leadership of the various congressional districts sit quiet. They do not. In fact, the corporations go to them to manipulate. And let's be candid, it's black folks that they're manipulating. Because in their view, they have to have a plurality of them. And they will get black faces to talk and carry their water and to convince other blacks that this is the way we want to do. But at the same time as you sit there, you watch everything that you have controlled and everything that you have had any influence on be taken away. They took the people's pensions, they took Belle Isle, they took Cobo Hall, they've taken the water system, they've taken Eastern Market, they've taken the zoo, they've taken literally, and the bus system is on the way now, literally everything. And our leadership is sitting back quietly because they're afraid themselves that they'll become the targets of that particular media onslaught. And even our unions, and I'm a union man. My whole family is union folks. But even our unions now have gotten quiet because of the right to work legislation, which means they can't collect their union dues unless the executive allows them. That is, unless either the mayor or the governor or whoever is in charge of the employees agrees to pay those union dues to them. So we can't count on anybody now except ourselves. And we have to accept that. And black folks have to stop running away from their blackness. Now, Theo, I got to be candid with you. We need to stop running away from it and start running to it, because you are the overwhelming majority of folks in the city of Detroit. You are the overwhelming majority of folks who vote in the Democratic convention and who will be voting Democratic, and yet you have effectively no say. No matter how much lip service they pay to you and put you into subordinate positions, you have effectively no say. And that's why I believe very strongly. I was thrilled to hear your name, Theo, and I was thrilled to know that that you're going to participate in that process and hopefully become the chairman of it. It needs a change. We've got to stop with these smiling black faces who then turn around and slip their shivs in our back and go and carry the water of a whole different set of folks and leave the progressives blacks and others out of the calculation. That's just my view.
Yeah. Well, you know what's so interesting to me is how the city was taken over with bankruptcy when it was not in any bankrupt position. And even when you look at the DIA, it was worth billions. We did not have a deficit or a deficit position, nor did the Detroit public school system. As a matter of fact, they had a surplus, but yet it went on anyway. So it just makes you have to look at the African Americans who just turn their backs on their own people.
And what they've done effectively is they have effectively devalued everything black. So they make it seem as if everything black is incompetent, it's incapable, it's unable to manage. As if we are really shiftless and we don't pay our bills, and we just want to game the system. And the reality is, you're right, that we did not fit the criteria for a bankruptcy.
Right.
We did not miss payrolls. We did not miss paying the payroll taxes. We did not miss paying bills. We did not miss paying the interest on the bonds. All those are prerequisites, but we had no one to speak on our behalf because our leadership was complicit.
You know, now Hassan has a way of describing the bond situation to help people understand what we're talking about. Hassan,
It's a
tell us
credit
about
card.
that. Yeah.
You know, when you get maxed out on your credit card, then that's what happens with cities. They have a credit card, not all cities. Detroit wasn't maxed out, but for example, Flint. Flint is maxed out on their credit card, which are the bonds that they would pay from the citizens. We would pay the bonds, but it's the bonds are the credit card. That would be equivalent to the credit card, and they're maxed out. And what maxed out means to them, it says, well, most of us have been in a situation where you were maxed out and you have to make a $150 payment. And when you make your $150 payment, you only have about $15 or $20 that you can borrow or use. So that means you would have to make $300 or $450 payments in order to access maybe $150. So you'd have to give them $600. See, so that's the same thing with a bond, where Flint, Michigan could not pay for that KWA, the Karagandhi water system that they're putting in. And you know, that was in the paper. That's what the Attorney General was saying, that he said it was a sham. You know, Schuette said it was a sham, the information that he received, and that's why he signed off on it. Isn't that amazing?
Well, you know, this whole thing that's occurring, that's upsetting me, taking people's homes, cutting off their water. They took the water system from us, and they're doing all these things illegally, quite frankly. It is simply that we don't have any strength of leadership. Somebody asked me the other day, well, would you ever support a white person for mayor? Of course I would. If Mel Ravitz was running for mayor and he was amongst the list, I would not hesitate. If Marianne Mahaffey had been running for mayor, I would not hesitate.
Right.
If even David Eberhard, as lackluster as he was, I would not hesitate.
The redhead.
But what I'm seeing here now is this concerted, sophisticated plan only in black cities across this entire state. And Detroiters, you got to stop defending what you see is going on, where they're taking your wealth. They're taking what you control and you own, and then they're leaving you to just simply die on the vine. They've taken your pensions. You know, these are people's, and they did the clawback based upon the year that you joined the city, 1993 or 1973. Well, if you look at 1973, that's when Coleman Young was elected.
Right.
Right.
And that's when black folks started getting these city jobs. Now,
That's
what they've
right.
done is they've privatized it all. And you see people going up and down the streets and working on the light poles and the rail in the street, but you don't see black folks.
And they didn't attack anybody prior to '73 when they
That's
started
right.
taking pension money.
That's right. So to me, it's so obvious. And the Detroiters, I'm all for everybody. I'm for everybody. I'm one of those who believes these millennials, these young folks coming in. I'm thrilled to see it. I mean, I like seeing that youth coming in, but I cannot, Brooke, and accept this systematic marginalization of black economic power. And that's essentially what's happening, whether we want to accept it or not. It's happening.
Well, let us talk about how the syndicated media aids this business plan, this takeover. When you turn on the news, on any of the syndicated news shows, for the first, 7 to 10 minutes, they talk about this black person was
Yes.
shot by another black person.
And they put him up on the
They
TV.
robbed-
They put a suspect with
yes.
no evidence yet.
Oh, right,
Put him up at the
right.
Wayne State when they arrested him, threw him in jail, threw him up underneath the jail, ran a bus over whatever it took. Turned out he ain't had nothing to do with nothing.
Nothing. But this is to frighten
Yes.
the people in the suburbs, okay, and those who have moved into the area around Wayne State and downtown and all of that. And then they talk about how Dan Gilbert has all of these cameras in and around downtown. And what was so funny to me was graffiti on one of his buildings. And I'm going to get him. And he talks like he just knew who it was. And I've got these cameras and we're going to look at him. And voila, it turned out to be some little white girls from Grosse Pointe who put graffiti on his building.
But the implication
And
is that it was black folks.
from the neighborhoods. And then, of course, it just kind of fizzled out and went under the rug. Didn't want to talk
Well,
about it anymore.
The folks who are watching, you can't just attack the black messengers, and this is not a question of that we dislike others. That's not true. And I'm encouraged when I see these young folks who are moving into the city. They're the children of the parents who moved out because they want to be around this diversity. They want to be around where the action's going on and so on and so forth. And we welcome them. But what we don't like is the systematic marginalization of black economic and political power. And that's what's happening here. These people are coming in, not to boast these young folks, but others who are sitting in their high towers. They're creating laws and issues which causes us to fight amongst ourselves, pointing to Caucasians as if all Caucasians are the problem, and they're not. It is the systematic utilization of laws, targeted laws. It's Jim Crow. Right. It's Jim Crow.
What about the Syrians? Do we have some of them around here?
We do, but you know what? I gotta
Detroit
say,
suburbs.
I gotta say that when I look at some of the businesses and the like, and I see a lot of businesses that are owned by Chaldeans and people of Arabic descent and so on and so forth. These guys are business people, and I see why they see an opportunity, so they jump in on it. But at the same time, our communities have to rise up and have to resist this proliferation of liquor stores and of all these debauchery kinds of places that are designed to keep our morals low. And I have
shops, the marijuana.
Yes.
Marijuana
Yeah.
shops.
They own them overwhelmingly. Overwhelmingly, they own them because it plays into the narrative of black inferiority. Is what it plays into.
Right.
So, I don't begrudge business people, but I do begrudge this systematic utilization of marginalizing black folks.
And they're very slow to shut them down. Supposedly, they were supposed to shut them all down. And they generate, they say, $8,000 a day.
Well, that's a claim, but, don't nobody know nothing about
Yeah.
that. That's,
Want to take a
Right.
call?
Yes. Oh, we
Okay.
have a call.
Sure, we got a couple
All right.
calls.
Okay.
Carla, you're on the line. Would you like to state your name, please?
Good morning. Can you hear me? This is
Yes.
Blanco.
Yes.
who'd you say this was?
We can hear you.
Podcast.
It's Sylvia.
Oh,
Right. We hear you.
okay. I just wanted your listeners, first of all, happy 2017, and I'm glad we're bringing Theo in to support and be over the 13th district. Got my vote.
All right.
Also, I wanted to let the listeners know, and I have a question for Tom. Do you know about the CAFA swindle? It's called the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report.
And when you said the CAFR, did you say CAFR
Yeah,
swindle?
the CAFA swindle. You can look it up on YouTube, and he's telling us about all these accounts in the CAFA swindle that's supposed to support the schools, the federal aid, the city services, and they're not telling us about these accounts, and we need to research these accounts because that's where they're hiding the money. And
I
that's
think
probably why everybody was getting paid that came and robbed the city. They're getting the money through the CAFA account. But
Okay.
also, I wanted your listeners to look up the looting of Detroit movie.com/bankruptcy. The looting of Detroit.com also has an election series on how they're they've been stealing these elections.
Isn't
Thank
that
you for taking
starring?
my call.
Isn't that starring Tom Barrow?
I think it is.
No, okay, I know what you're talking about. Let me just, Sylvia, let me just clarify something. Are you saying CAFR or are you saying Kappa?
No, CAFR.
CAFR, you're talking about the
comprehensive
annual financial report.
financial report.
That's correct. Yes. All right. Thank you very much. And I'll just touch on that if I could, Theo.
Yeah.
Look that up, please.
On just all three of
All
those.
right, thanks,
The
Sylvia.
CAFR is the abbreviation that she's using. That's short for the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, which is the examination of the financial statements of the state or the school district. And it sets forth where all the pots of monies are and so on and so forth. And that, of course, if it tells you that money's over here in this pot over here, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that money, but it lets you know that that money is supposed to be being used for something. Well, what is it doing sitting over here? And the hope is that we as a people, as a city and as a community, as black folks and as progressives, don't understand the concepts. And in fact, we do, which is why we saw through this false and contrived bankruptcy. And that's very important for you to look at that, because that was what I looked at when I was able to determine with certainty that this bankruptcy was going to be contrived. We had a surplus in terms of our general fund, and the deficits were in funds where they're supposed to be deficits, where they are designed to be deficits. And so I knew we weren't running out of money. But yes, I am aware of that, Sylvia, and I appreciate your call with regards to that. As it relates to the movie, Jan Bendor and Gene Vortman, Vortkamp, put out the, and she gets upset with me when I say Vortman, because that's the cookie people. Yes. Gene Vortman. And they, it's a Vortkamp, see, I get it confused. But anyhow, her and Jan Bendor spent a great deal of time interviewing people. And they have created this incredible movie, documentary, it covers multiple facets, including the contrived bankruptcy, the looting and taking of the elections and the like. And I think it is called the lootingofdetroitmovie.com. It's on YouTube. You can get this, you can watch this, and I encourage you to watch this at home, because this gives you a sense that you just won't get otherwise. They are a couple of tenacious folks who spent a lot of money creating this. So, but yes, Sylvia, I am aware of that, and that's why they hope that we don't have, if they can keep black folks in the dark and keep us marginalized, then we will never grasp and understand, and nobody will listen to us when we holler out about these funds.
Like mushrooms. And it's also co-starring Hassan Ali and Carl Williams.
Yes, I saw them. I did see them in there and talking about that. So yes, it's a lot of folks that people are going to know and they're going to listen to them. They're going to believe them because it's stuff people seen and know
It is facts. Okay, another caller.
Another caller. Caller, can we have your name and how are you viewing us?
Yes, this is Darwin. I'm viewing you through the internet.
All right, go ahead.
Now, I heard, but anyway, Happy New Year's, but I wanted to be an organizing New Year for us. We need that most badly. But I heard Tom say they. And when I look back at they, starting in the 90s, I seen it was a primarily all black black city council gave away the Institute of Art. And when I look at all those things, they was not taken by outside forces. They was gave away. I remember standing in the halls of the city county building, and they loaded it up with polices. And everybody said, don't give this away. And the Black City Council gave it away. When people went and lobbied. And I've seen this happen not only in Detroit, I've seen this happen with black officials in Washington, D.C. I've seen it happen in Harlem. I've seen it. So when we say they, if we're going to win this struggle, we got to understand who they are. They became Hugh Prices and Reverend Vance and Archer, who said, what we got to do, we got to have partnership with corporations, and we got to get someone on high in places so they can get something done. And we voted for a president, and that's the highest political job you got.
Okay.
And we still came up empty-handed, and we refused to look at our history and see that only in 12 years, from 1960s, that we gained anything as a people, not our individual achievement as a basketball player or a singer, but as a people, we had dignity only 12 years. And when King was assassinated, then you got to learn the game, to play the game, and we went into politics, and we sold ourselves to corporations, and we end up all over the country with political black oligarchs.
Okay, well, let's let Tom.
Those are the things who took us down to nothing all across this country.
All right, thank you for that.
David, let me just
Tom
respond
to
the they. First of all, let me just address they.
Okay.
I think every black person in Detroit and in metropolitan Detroit knows who they is. You ask a black person, we'll be able to tell you who they is. We just have to know what the issue is. We'll tell you who they is. In order to take and to do what they've done, and even to have these folks, which they will refer to as giving away things, and you watch them give it away, they've got to get there first in order to be in a position to be able to give away anything. The taking of our Belle Isle was done with the acquiescence of David Bing, the most inept, incapable person there was. He's not one of us, but they put him there. And then, of course, they'll put some people on the council, and therefore they will point to the black faces who they'll say, well, you signed off on it. The taking of our Cobo Hall was this young girl out there on northwest Detroit, Jackson. I think she was a senator or a representative or something. She led the charge. And they put her out front and built her up. And then once they got it, they put her into oblivion. The taking of the Eastern Market and the taking of our water system and our Detroit-Windsor Tunnel, it's with the compliance and acquiescence of black folks, but it's not our leadership, black folks. If, in fact, we had a Mary Ann Mahaffey and an Irma Henderson and a Clyde Cleveland, and even, and I talk about David Eberhard, and I like him, but even a David Eberhard, none of this would have been possible. And it's all possible because they are, in fact, very systematically and in a sophisticated way marginalizing black political power. Now, let me speak one last point to what Tyrone said about organizing. Daewoo said about organizing. You are absolutely correct. We've got to organize. If we bring people together, if we utilize our political power, and on January the 11th, 2016, that's next Wednesday, Citizens for Detroit's Future, in conjunction with the Progressive Democratic Caucus, is going to be conducting a mass meeting. It's an organizing meeting, and we want you to come. If you're watching this at home, it's going to be at the Venetian Hall, 13960 Gratiot. Starts at 6 p.m. Our purpose in bringing folks together is to, and you'll get letters, and some of you will get emails, and you'll get telephone calls, is we got to begin to organize folks to take back our city, to oust these people who are selling us out and who are just wanting, happy to be in the presence in the room and yet have no influence but are perceived as being influential. It is designed for us to organize to take back, and this is not a Tom Barrow for mayor meeting. This is not a Tom Barrow for city clerk meeting. It's not a Tom Barrow for anything. It is merely an organizing process by which you'll have input into the plan. And then we will execute that plan, starting right with this Michigan Democratic Convention that's coming up. So I would urge everybody, just come on down. That's on January 11th, 13960 Gratiot, 6 p.m. And it's going to end at 7:30 sharp. I start meetings sharp on time, and I end them on time. So if you come down, I think you'll have a great deal to say.
Okay. Now, can we give that once again? This coming, next Wednesday.
It'll be next Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's
January
11th. Which, incidentally, my birthday's January 12th.
Uh-oh.
But it's January the 11th, Wednesday evening, 6 o'clock sharp.
6 p.m.
At 13960 Gratiot, the Venetian Hall.
13960
That's in Detroit, just
Hall.
South of 7 Mile.
Oh, okay, 7 Mile. Good.
All right.
And we're going to be organizing. So if you have some frustrations and if you see what we all see in the marginalization of progressives in Detroit, whether black or white, and the marginalization of black political power, this is the place to come now and talk about it and see about solutions.
Okay. Sounds good.
Want to take another call?
Yes, we'll do that.
Caller, you on the air? Can we get your name and where you call viewing this from?
Good morning, Hasim, and everybody, your guests.
Your name?
You know, all three of these TV stations
Excuse me.
are
Hey,
owned by Jews.
Hello. Your name, please.
It's Kurt.
Kirk, thanks for calling.
I'm watching on Channel 33 from Detroit.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, but all three of these channels are owned by Jews, and the financing of the ships to bring us, some of us who wasn't already here from America, were financed by Jews. So when you say that they're making us look bad in the news, they're the ones who finance this. And my question is, as far as a resolution to our problems, when are we going to start us an authority? They're doing all of these things that they're doing to us with an authority. And I'm hoping Tom, who's sitting there, when he do this thing on the 11th, that he start an authority. An authority got to pay dues. Didn't nobody cry about paying dues when you were working at the Big Three? I worked there 16 years, and I never in my life heard somebody complain about paying dues, and they were taking a certain percentage of your money and giving it to the union. You see what I'm saying? So I think the main thing and the first thing we need to do is we need to get our finances together. I've never seen anything work better than a bus boycott. And all they did was not get on the bus. And that scenario lasted for over a year.
Yes,
and after a while, the people came right back to him and said, hey, man, what do you guys want? And all it was about was not spending no money with them. Right. And in addition to the authority, I think we need to start our own yellow pages as to where the black businesses are in the city of Detroit so we can patronize. I don't know where the black gas station is. I grew up on the North End, born in Herman Kiefer Hospital. I know everything in the world about the North End. Red Shoe Shine, Charlie the Pencilman, all of that. I was born here. I did not see no all-black businesses when I was on Oakland Avenue, all up and down Woodward. I did not see no black business. I have never seen businesses owned by blacks like they're owned by Arabs. How do you get every single gas station, every single party store, and every single grocery store? How is that possible in a city where at one time there was a million black people here? How is that possible? And thanks for taking my call.
That's interesting.
Well, it's very good, Kurt. That's it's nice to hear you. Nice to hear your voice. I don't know you, but let me just, if I could, address some of the things that he talked about. First, let me talk about as he talked about Jewish people. You know, black folks and Jewish people have long had an affinity towards one another because of what Jewish people went through, also what black folks have went through. I don't begrudge Jewish people and blame them for whatever may be happening inside of our community or whatever may be happening to our leadership. I think what Kurt has said here is, and Kurt's an aware person. I can tell he's as they say, he's woke. You know, he talks about the authority and so on. But even the bus boycott began with an organization meeting. Once Rosa Parks had been arrested, they knew then, now let's organize and now let's plan to go about and execute that plan to not ride on these buses. And they talked. That's what's going to happen on January the 11th. We're going to talk about what needs to be done and how we go about it. We won't let our meetings get dominated, but we're going to talk about it and we're going to organize. And I think if we organize, we can do the equivalent in a smaller way. Now, he talks about an authority. We can't just create an authority as a legal instrument to create, and that goes for some time and some legal fees and so on and so forth to do. But if we organize, as part of that, creating the super PACs and things of that sort down the road, and take back our leadership positions, take the leadership positions, we won't have to be sitting out here groveling and complaining about we don't have this store and that gas station and this restaurant and don't have access to capital and the like, because we will make access to capital available for everyone. We're not going to exclude anyone. We're going to make it available for everyone so that everybody can be successful. But it begins with organizing the effectiveness of that bus boycott to tell people don't get on the bus, or we're going to tell them, you know, we need to vote as a block, and let's start taking back some of these leadership positions and get rid of some of these, I guess you can't call them Uncle Toms, but folks who are not doing what we need to have done.
No, they no.
I won't call them that.
No, actually, they need to read the book. to really find out who Uncle Tom
That's right.
was.
He was a positive person.
Very,
but,
very.
Yes, he
It's
was.
an excellent book, too.
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
your response.
Well, one of the things to Kurt's question, how did the
Businesses.
business become all Arabs? The blacks sold them to the Arabs. You know, after the riot in '67, blacks started going into business. They were given an opportunity by the people that there, the white folks that were there, sold it to the blacks. They sold the party stores and the gas stations. And a lot of the blacks worked for the white folks at that time in the gas stations and party stores, so they bought them. And, you know, that's what happened. So their children, as the black store owners retired, their children didn't want to go into business. And one of the things, the main thing that also led to that was the drugs. When the drugs
When dropped in the community.
right. When the drugs came into the community, saturated the community with drugs, then that took the light off of the movement. There was a positive movement for blacks going into their own businesses, and you know, and it stopped with the drug epidemic. Simple as that. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Also, the other thing that happened was the street numbers were taken out of our community.
With the lottery.
And right, and the state legislators decided that it was time for them to take over because they realized that there was a lot of money that was being recycled within our community.
No, too much money. You say a lot. Too much for black folks.
You got it too. That's right. We want to control this because you are taking care of too many people in your community, sending too many of the young people to college, helping those who need loans out, even paying for funerals for others who could not afford it. There was a lot of that went on, and they kept peace in the community by employing so many of the residents within the community. And between the drugs and the taking of the street numbers, turning it into the lottery, it made a totally different dynamic.
And you know, as now, even back then, everything that black folks did that was positive was criminalized. Numbers were criminalized. You know, all of this stuff was criminalized. And then when the white folks took it over, it was okay.
All of a sudden, it was legal.
You know, it's the same thing with the drugs. Now the drug industry is slowly being legalized.
Right.
So, you know, you have to look at it and say, why are those people sitting in jail for selling drugs? If it's legal now. Well, that was just to get us out of the way, take our money.
Right, exactly.
It's all about the money.
In another area, right. And then as far as him being on the north end, if he is still there, the closest black-owned gas station that I can think of to him is on Davidson and Linwood. There is a black-owned gas station on Davidson and Linwood. And her research did a lot of research on the numbers of stations, and we came up with 22 black-owned stations. And it seems like not too long after that, a few months, there were many people who were supporting the black-owned stations. And Reverend Sheffield had a big gas campaign and encouraged people to patronize them as well. But the majority of the stations were mobile. And all of a sudden, mobile pulled out of the city. And if you did not own the land, the pumps, the building, you were out of business unless you had enough money to purchase it and move to another gasoline supplier. And there was a lot of that did go on. But as far as Kirk is concerned, that's the closest one to him. There's one on Outer Drive in 7 Mile.
7 Mile.
Yeah, and
That's
there's a
Shell.
third one. I can't remember the third one. Somebody call in if you can remember where the third one is.
You know, I think that as these gas stations even try to develop, one of the problems that we always run into is technology changes, and you have to upgrade your facade, you have to upgrade what your pumps look like, you have to have the technology to use the app, and while other majority-owned stations get access to the resources and the capital and the loans to do it, minority-owned stations do not. And so as a result, the minority-owned station can't supply this edge that all the others have over, and pretty soon black people who patronize that minority station want to use those apps, and the next thing you know, they go where they can use their apps and can use the technology and can have these nice modern pumps, and pretty soon the black one atrophies. It's all by design when you lack leadership, which is why we have to organize, Detroit. You have to organize.
And talk
You've got to
about
make this happen.
We got to talk about the powers that we do have. Right now, we need to take a break, so stay tuned. Call somebody, let them know that we are on live today, and they can call us right here at WHPR. We'll be back momentarily. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback.
You're watching W33BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan.
The National Guard has a highly trained group of individuals in the military. Their ability has a very direct application in outside industry. Wayne County Community College offering programs such as cybersecurity puts them into a career where there's going to be a tremendous demand. Protecting Fortune 500 companies that are located in Michigan, we feel there's great opportunity in maximizing that partnership.
Fake Friends. Behind the scenes of the new dance show. Written by Mike Matthews.
Talking about my friends. How many of us are real friends?
Hey, it's LaWanda. Guess what? I'm going to be on radio and TV. I want you to be with me every Wednesday between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. You and I, right here. WHPR TV 33.
It's Fake Friends. Written by Mike Matthews. Behind the scenes of the new dance show.
I'm going to give you the updates on this new sitcom entitled Fake Friends. I'm going to have my real friends with me on my show. I'm talking about Mr. R.J. Watkins and none other than Mr. Henry Tyler.
The sitcom Fake Friends.
I'm going to dish the dirt. Whose baby is that? As I sip my tea. Who you calling fake?
Can we all just get along?
I'm minding my business. I'm just telling yours.
The new sitcom Fake Friends. Only on 107.3 FM. WVIE Virgin Islands. Simulcasting on Comcast. Channel 91 and TV 33.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you're facing tax foreclosure, you should have received a notice of a show cause hearing. These hearings are being held to advise you of all the options available to help you save your property. The hearing notices indicate an assigned date and time to attend. The hearings will be held during the month of January, beginning on January 10th on the 8th floor of 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit. The show cause hearings are designed to help prevent foreclosure. I want you to keep your property, and we are here to help. In addition to our staff, there will be free financial counseling, legal services, and other public and private partners willing to assist you in avoiding property tax foreclosure. For more information, call 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. If you have already entered into a payment plan or paid your 2014 and prior taxes in full, you do not have to attend. Please take advantage of this opportunity to avoid tax foreclosure.
Are you in legal trouble? Are you in need of legal advice? Or just have general legal questions? Watch Law Power Hour and get your questions answered by experienced attorneys who are experts in their field. Know your rights. Watch Law Power Hour, hosted by Barry Keller, attorney at law, Tuesdays at 5 p.m. here on WHPR, Detroit Live. Tune in every Monday morning at 10 for Get in the Know with host Marley B, providing the city of Highland Park news, information, and entertainment. Find out what's happening in Highland Park from the city's movers and shakers. Get in the know with Marley B. Monday mornings at 10, right here on WHPR.